There we go. We're live. Okay, so literally, Faith and I have been sitting here going, why won't this thing connect? What's going on? Hello, everybody. It's Shanda On Demand. Yes. Okay, so first and foremost, people always ask me, how do you name your shows, your webinars, your challenges? And first, I want to tell you that I'm a horrible namer. Literally everything from our pocket coaching membership to Shanda On Demand has actually been named by you. You are the person who's named it over and over and over again. So I want to share something with you. Before you create anything, before you create a great relationship, before you create a fantastic business, before you literally create friendships that are not taken for granted and that you're just like, oh, I just love this person so much. Before you get to that level, you 100%, at least this is my experience, you 100% would do better if you actually listened to what other people said. So Esteban, Holly, Marilyn, Denise, Sophia, good morning, everybody. Nice to see you. Okay, so does anybody know what the topic of conversation is today? What's the topic of conversation today? Like a cuckoo mind, the way that it, come on, somebody tell me, what is our conversation today? Does anybody know what our conversation is about today? I just want to know. Go in the comment section. Yes, Holly. Yes, yes, yes. Breaking mind patterns. We are breaking mind patterns today. And I think we could just stop and just say, what is the one that gets in your way? What is the one that gets in your way? Okay, so I'll see, look at, I love it. I love it. People are literally opening up our minds. So good. So good. So good. Awesome. Okay, so that's so good, you guys. Okay, so you got it. So courage is important for sure. Courage is definitely important, but it's about opening up our minds today. So I'm going to tell you, I'm going to start with a quick story that will hopefully put things into perspective for you. So I get calls a lot. I get calls from new people that I don't know that saw our ads. Like somebody sent me a beautiful message this morning, said, my whole life changed when I saw your Facebook ad. And I went to your List Power Intensive program. And I know you probably have these too, right? You guys, people send you messages and they're just thankful that you got out there and you gave, you risked. I mean, every time you take a risk, there's always people who want to judge you. And I honestly don't think that they're necessarily judging us because I've done the same thing. I've judged other people. I don't think that we do this on purpose. I think we do it because we're not on purpose. I don't think it's because we do it on purpose. I don't think we judge on purpose. I think most of us judge because we're not on purpose. Not playing a big enough game. And let's just take a real moment here. We are all human. There are moments in all of our lives that we're not playing a big enough game. And in those moments, we tend to get into the mind and we tend to either get critical of other people or we get critical of ourselves. Am I right or am I right? Yes or no? Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have Faith watch the chats today, and I'm looking for people that are on the comment section. You're sharing right now. You're saying, you're thinking about people that you really think should see this. You're literally sharing or tagging people, and you're literally bringing people to this training today. And you're helping people unleash from the mind patterns and battles that hold them from creating their greatness. In other words, who do you know, or is it your Facebook or YouTube page? Who do you know right now that you feel like should be listening to this because you know that they've got a next level, but for whatever reason, they mentally haven't allowed themselves to go there? Make sure that they get this live. Okay, so I'm going to watch the shares. I'm going to have Faith watch the shares, but I'm also going to have her watch the comment section. And what I'm looking for is people engaging with real comments, like things that are starting to go, aha. Like if I read your comment, I would know that I should watch this live, this training, this Shanda On Demand right now. I would know I should watch it, and it would help me get to the next level. So something like this. Now get into the training. I've been battling with exhaustion for so long. I watched this live and now I think I just got released from it, right? I've been second guessing myself or trying to make a decision for like 10 years. But now I feel after watching this, I have the ability to make that decision. Like those type of moments can happen right here, right today. But first you need to ask yourself, what is the intention of you watching this today? Go in the comment section. What do you want to see shift in your mind right now? What do you want to see shift in your life right now? What's the thought that you need to let go of to be able to go the next level? Put that in the comment section right now. Now I'm looking for people who, as you're starting to break free of that, Faith is going to watch, and we're going to choose one person, maybe two, to come on to our live this Friday. One person, maybe two, to come onto our live this Friday and show you how to hot seat your business or hot seat your emotions to be able to unleash you to the next level. Is that fair? Yes. So we're going to choose 1 to 2 people. And on Friday, we're going to bring up people that I don't know, that are just randomly picked. Well, they're not randomly picked. You showed up, you used your voice, you paid attention, you engaged, and you allowed the impact of my words to help you. See, somebody asked me the other day, I said, Shanda, can I just sit with you and pick your mind on an idea? And I said, I love that. The problem is I get asked that every single day. I have $25,000 or $30,000 options to sit down and do that. Now you might think, how rude is Shanda for saying that? But you wouldn't think that if you're a client of mine, because the only way I can get to my clients and to be able to help them, we have over 1,100 new clients come into our ecosystem, like paying clients, every single month. Every single month. It's very, very hard to lead a movement like that if everybody's got my ear to pick my mind. Do you guys get what I'm saying? I get paid to have you pick my mind, and I paid a lot of money to build my mind. You guys hear what I'm saying? Yes? Okay, so it's not because I'm trying to be challenging to people. It's because literally there is no way to be able to answer every question. There's no way to be able to get on Zoom calls or phone calls with everybody, but there is a way that I can find a way to be generous and see if what I talk about today impacts you. Let me know in the comments thread. But don't just say this impacted me. Say it in a way that other people could read the comments and go, oh my gosh, I'm having that challenge. Like, this is about us raising people up, especially entrepreneurs, small business owners. Let's raise them up so they get what they need to succeed. Yes? Are we good with that? And Faith, pick 1 or 2 people that really resonate. And if there isn't 1 or 2, then don't pick anybody. And we'll do that Friday. Tomorrow on Shanda On Demand, I'm going to talk about planning your 2023. Yeah, hold on. I'm going to step out of the video. 2023, right? So 2023 I have multiple departments in my company. I have marketing, I have accounting, finance, business, new business ventures, culture initiatives with our team inside of Heartcore, something called a runway culture and runway money. We have sales team division. We have client care division. We have a Heartcore leadership division. All these divisions need to be thought out. And what does it look like if they're winning in 2023, right? What does it look like if they're winning? And these plans and objectives come from the big vision of where we want to see the company go. And so I'm going to go over that tomorrow, planning. But between now and tomorrow, think to yourself, we're going to start today. What needs to shift? What needs to shift? What truly needs to shift inside of your mind? I'll go first. What needed to shift at first, I'm going to show you the evolution of not making yourself wrong. Okay, the evolution of not making yourself wrong. Now, you can apply this also to maybe somebody in your life that you're judging right now, or you're critiquing because they need to walk faster, they need to be more ambitious, so they need to, maybe you're a parent and you're like, my kid needs to study more. Like, there's all the critiques, right? You have to get out of that. You have to get out of that, okay? So there's this whole mind epidemic of, I don't want to wait. And I don't want to wait says, oh my gosh, I'm exhausted. I'm tired. And you'll hear me say this until the cows come home, because I want this to break over your life right now so that you stop thinking that you're exhausted and you're tired. I really want it to break. It just means you're bored. You're bored. That's it. You're bored. But it doesn't necessarily mean you need to leave the relationship. Doesn't mean that you need to stop being a mom or a dad. It doesn't put into perspective. People are like, I need to leave that relationship to not be bored. Well, imagine saying that about your kids. I need to leave my kids because they drive me nuts right now in this season. Like, this season shall end and a new one will begin. And the better that we can walk it and lead it, the stronger we are going to have a non-passive mind and an objective mind. Do you get what I'm saying? So this idea that, well, let me give you an example. I think if you're in business, and definitely by the 4th year, you're not making $1 million in business. And I would say 3rd year. If you know you're good, you know who I'm talking about. Like, forget the judgment of being egotistical or whatever. Like, who out there, you know you're good, put good in the comment section. Truly, like, you know you're good. Like, you are good at something, like you're extraordinary at something. Right? Who are my people out there that you know you're good, right? The question is, if you have a business right now and you've been in business for 3 years and you haven't hit $1 million in revenue, you're not applying yourself. You're just not. And I'm going to tell you, if you watched yesterday's live, you saw a lack of urgency. It's a blind spot. So make sure you watch yesterday's live. I got a lot of messages from people on how much that really unhooked them financially. So watch yesterday's. It's on YouTube. It's on Facebook. Okay. So, and I was with 2 girls yesterday that are in our community. So, so if you feel like you have a desire to create massive impact, but you're still not grounding yourself in really strong KPIs, really strong goals. I have clients right now. I can tell you something. Divert to the side for a second. We can directly tell our clients who fill out a quarterly plan, they actually make it. Over 75% of them make it. That's a big number. Just so you know, in entrepreneurial masterminds, courses, digital leaders, like entrepreneurial groups, it's usually about 15 to 20 at the most, from extraordinary results to some results that actually make it. It's very, very low number that actually make it. I know, isn't that motivating to get into a mastermind? Crazy, right? In our community, it's over 75%. In our leadership community, it's 97%. What does that tell you? The people who focus on leadership, they grab a hold of their mind and they make big commitments, they succeed. But here's what I keep seeing. People who succeed, there's many of you that don't allow a great mentor in anymore, and you pull back because you don't feel like working like that anymore. Do you hear what I'm saying? Because somehow you think that what you did to get here, to go the next level, is going to require so much more of you. And it's not necessarily going to require so much more of you. It's going to require something different of you. As your income goes up, your leadership rises, which in other words, you unhook from the emotions that have you pull back. You stop making up excuses for the reason why you can't hit your results. You just stop making up excuses. It doesn't matter what the economy's doing. It doesn't matter what it doesn't matter what the economy's doing. It doesn't matter what your spouse is doing. It doesn't even matter if you got sick. Like my friend Rex Crane, who knows Rex Crane? Put Rex in the comment section. I remember Rex Crane getting COVID and still doing a Mentor Me live call. Actually, Faith has got COVID. And Faith is on here right now. She's managing the chat, right? Like, it's like that is leadership. Now, not all people can do that, because a lot of people, their dog will get sick. I'm not making fun, but you understand what I'm saying. You know who you are. Your dog will get sick and you will have an excuse to not show up. Now, listen, I'm not trying to be a hard, you know what? I'm not trying to be a hard ASS. I'm not. I'm actually just trying to say, if you want to go there, you have to, this is the key indicator that changes everything. Okay, a calm mind is only one thing. A calm mind is what you were born with, but it is only one aspect to go to the next level. It's what do you do when someone offends you? Okay, so go in the comment section. What do you do when someone offends you? Just be honest. Think about somebody who offended you last time. What do you do? Do you say, that's it, I'm not working with you, I'm not hanging out with you, you're rude, you get triggered, you fight? What happens? Like, let's be honest. Let's not make people feel like they're cuckoo, right? Let's be honest. What do you do? What do you do when people offend you? Go in the comment section. Okay, so now ask yourself, withdraw. Only one of you guys actually commented on that, which is unbelievable to me, right? Like, as if, okay, I get triggered and I first then look inside, I get distracted. Okay, so here's what I used to do, because I don't think that many of you guys are being honest right now. Okay, so because I get mad, thank you, Carolee, right? I stop working, Nina. Depends on the disrespect, I get mad, right? And then I may ignore them. Okay, so think about, so we love to hang out in esoteric, which is, well, let me kind of step outside myself and look up. No, get into a moment. Who's offended you recently? Who's triggered you? Who's triggered you? Right? Who's actually great, Jade. I get silent and I cut them off. I rest. I repeat it. I withdraw. Right? I ask, why is it bothering me? Meryl, you're very, very, very personal development, which is great. Okay, so here's what I do when somebody offends me. At first, I usually put them in their place, right? And I say something where I push them back out of my space, and I use my controller. Anybody done my HCL program? Put HCL if you've done my HCL program, right? So I put them in their place and I use my controller. And I say Faith offended me. I would say, Faith, stop right there. That doesn't work for me. Can you change the way that you're speaking to me on this right now? And let's figure it out. What's the main goal? I realign to the vision. Why are we here in the first place? Okay, so somebody on my team, I'm just going to use my team as an example because we work together all the time and we're human and we have triggers, right? So somebody on my team is like, they're getting feedback about something, like they're being critically corrected, that might be how they're wiring it. Most people in hardcore don't have it wired like that because they've done a leadership program, but there are some that might they're like, I'm getting corrected. And when they got corrected at some time in their life, it meant they were bad, right? And so depending on what people have on it determines on how we react. So what I used to do is I used to get angry and attack. And now what I do is I go, this is the only place that I can get something done. And so I refocus on the vision and I push them back into their power. And the way that I do that is it literally looks like this. Hey, Faith, you know what? I can tell that you're offended or you're overwhelmed right now. Take a deep breath. You got to let that emotion go. What is the vision that we're trying to create right now? Let's get aligned to that. And she might need to work. Faith and I have actually never had this, but Faith, thank you for letting me use you. But Faith might need to work through her emotions for a second, and I just have to hold the space. But I am very, very strong in my controller because there is nowhere that she gets to go for us to go off the cliff. I manage it. See, when someone in your life is going off the cliff, if you could manage it, it's great. Now, I'm not standing here saying I've never gone off a cliff. My husband is definitely a place that I have had my strongest leadership growth in. And some of you guys already know this. I broke up with him 17 times on one day. I mean, it was a full soap opera. Like, imagine this. You will never, ever think that I would do this. Imagine this. I'm driving through California. I'm driving through Del Mar, California, which is beautiful if you've never been there. And I'm crying and I can't get this guy to show up the way I want him to. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I had this baby with him. Actually, I was pregnant, so that probably helps a little bit. I was pregnant. But I'm not going to use that as an excuse because still it was a freaking soap opera. It was like living in the life of Shanda and Ash. And I'm driving through Del Mar. And I'm crying. I go to pull over, and this guy knew me so well. He knew exactly where I'd go. And he shows up where I'm at in my car on the side of the street. I'm like a little embarrassed to tell this story, but it is what it is, right? If we can't take what's in the dark and bring it to the forefront, then it's got power on us. And so he shows up, and I'm on the street, and I'm crying. I get out of my car, and he's like, I'm not going anywhere. See how he was managing? He was managing the space until my emotion could go through. And so what I don't want you to do is to justify the emotion. Like, because right there, what I wanted to do is I wanted to explain myself and the situation and show you how I was right about having emotions like that. So you don't think I'm cuckoo. But the truth is we all have some level of cray cray in us somewhere. Some people, you look like you withhold. You already know the move you're going to make. And there's people around you knowing you're going to make that. There's people around you that don't know you're going to make that move and they're trusting you. And you are 100% plotting behind closed doors. You think that's good character? Not at all. Not at all. It's not. Neither is me breaking up with my husband 17 times in one day. It's not great character. And if we want to go to the next level, we have to start risking at the next level and being transparent. And I'm going to tell you, I have seen this on so many levels. Like the biggest disappointment is when you get close to some of the people on the platforms that you see and you see that they're not who they are. Because somehow you've got them wired like they're perfect and they're not. It's just they've managed different levels of leadership to be able to manage their triggers, emotions, to be able to lead through hard moments, to be able to get to where they want to be. Is this helping? Yes or no? Is anybody having an aha moment? Think about, this is how you apply this. Think about something in your life that would trigger you now. How do you not allow it to side rail your business or your life? So now here's the next thing I want you to think about. As you're leading the vision, right? As you're leading the vision, you need to know exactly where's the destination you're going to. Now, this is where people, honestly, and I lead a leadership program and it's all experiential. So it's really powerful when people see how they really process. You could lead this destination completely self-centered. This is where I know what I'm doing, but I'm not telling anybody. I'm keeping my content really close to me because I don't want anybody to steal it. I'm going to get a divorce from you, but I have not told you that yet. And I'm pretending like I'm going on that vacation. I'm going to quit on you, but I'm talking behind your back to someone, but I'm not willing to be honest with you and come to you and be courageous. Like self-centeredness has a lack of courage. Now, again, there's nothing wrong with this. Remember, I'm the girl who broke up with my guy 17 times in one day. I'm not standing here condemning. I'm saying, where do you want to go? Because based on results, you've probably been circling a drain, meaning that you've lived in an ecosystem that you know really well. You know your life, you know your income bracket. You've been making about the same amount of money for a while, and you want to break out. But breaking out requires a different leadership, not more work. Everybody thinks if I just work more, that will equate to breaking free. It's not that. It is absolutely not that. It is not that. Right? It is absolutely not that. It is you have to actually change how you think and lead your life and process. You absolutely do. So I'm going to ask you, where's the destination of where you want to go? And this will help tee you up for tomorrow's planning. Where's the destination of where you want to go? Okay, so, I would like to see our company go to a certain level. I would like to see my marriage go to a next level. And those next levels have a specific destination, right? Like I know what that looks like. Do you know what that looks like in your life? I want you to think about that before tomorrow's training when we plan 2023 tomorrow, which, by the way, you need to know how to shut down your year to finish your year out. You need to know how to close things up, close down your year to be able to open up next year. Otherwise, you will take the bags from this year to next year. And this is why people do the same circling the drain of their life. They just do. You need to let go of a thought of safety, of justification, of logic, of the way you think things get built, because you build what you've built. Can you guys hear that? You build what you've built from the leadership that you're at. And if you want things to go faster, the X factor is leadership. Now, people are like your network is your net worth. It is a big factor as well. 100%. But that is also connected to your leadership, because it's one thing that you know people, but do they know you? But do they intimately know you? How many people in a day, and you can go in the comment section, you could write it if you want. How many people in a day, it's actually powerful for people to see. Actually write it. Let's just be really honest. How many times in a day, actually let's do a week. How many times in a week do you get text messages or phone calls from people who are thinking about you that want to spend more time with you? But be really honest. Okay, so my friend Randy Garn, Dean and I were messaging the other day. Who else? Steve. It's like right on the tip of my tongue. I'm actually doing this with you, right? Okay, so in this week, where are we right now? We're on, what day are we at? What day are we at? Wednesday. So since we're at Wednesday, I've got 9 right now. 9 people have reached out to me. 10 people have reached out to me about wanting to just spend time together. Right? And so I'm not saying that as a brag or boast. I don't even know if that's good. Right? And so now what is the quality of those people? So just do this work yourself. Right? And when I say quality, I know that sounds horrible, but let me rephrase that. Are the people who have reached out to you, are they up to the life and the results that you want? Are they up to the life or the results that you want? So I would say 4 out of my 10 definitely are. 4 out of my 10, like 100%, are like playing the game that I want to play in life. And for me, the criteria, because your criteria can change your numbers. The criteria for me is they have a great marriage. That's important to me. Like, and if you're single, that's totally cool. I'm not having any judgment on that. Just don't judge my vision. My vision, I think, to be able to have a great marriage and to have a thriving financial life, whether you've sold a company and put like, and I'm not just talking like $2 million in the bank. I mean, like you've got 20 million and up in your actual bank account. I'm being really honest with you. By the way, 8 years ago, this wasn't the case at all. Right? And so I want to see a thriving marriage. I want to see God at the center, not afraid to talk about it. I want to see 20 million approximately that's actually like in your accessibility. It's in your actual like pension plans, real estate. And I'm not saying the equity of the real, I mean, like you actually have 20 million bucks, right? You've sold a company. That's where I want to be. Right. And then you treat your friends and stuff really kindly, and you're a parent. So see how my critiquing, like, it doesn't mean that everybody else is bad. It just means that when I was single, I found it a lot easier to have a career. It took me years to shift my leadership to be able to have a career and have a marriage that we didn't want to kill each other, you know, and be willing. I told my husband something. I don't know if this is helping. Is this helping? I told my husband something before we left for Puerto Rico in June that I had never told anybody in my life. Like one of those things that you just don't want anybody to know. It's so embarrassing. And I told my husband right before we left to move here because I wanted to be closer to him. I had to let go of the thought to elevate my leadership in my marriage, in trust, in love, in, you know, he could hurt me with this, whatever, right? He might look at me differently. He might not appreciate me anymore. He might not think I'm like the cat's meow, even if he does. Do you get what I'm saying? Like it took courage. Remember what I said? Self-centered destinations don't take courage because you don't really have to let that many people in except for the people who can help you get there. And that's short-lived. It's short-lived. There is not much joy in that. There's a lot of work ethic, a lot of resentment, a lot of feeling like life is going by and you can't grab it. I hope I'm making a difference right now. This is just what I've learned after seeing thousands of people. I mean, thousands of people every single year. We had almost 2,000 people do our leadership program or sign up for our leadership program halfway through this year. Right? And so it's not even just that. It's also just the circles that I get to hang out in. I hang around a lot of really smart people, but not all smart people have a great life, and not all financially free people have a great life. And so what's your criteria on who you're going to model your leadership from? And let's you not make that wrong, and don't make me wrong for mine. People told me that I'd never find a husband that was a triathlete. I have to laugh because my husband just signed up for another Ironman and he's really working to get back in shape, bless his heart. But you know why I chose a triathlete? Because I thought the plan, the vision was that if I married a triathlete, I would never get lazy in my life because there's 6 hours on the weekend. Riding bikes on Saturday is 6 hours minimum, if not five or six, right? But then my husband stopped. That wasn't his vision anymore. And he became a dad, and he became more obsessed with being a dad. And then there was, that vision had to get changed. So I had to let something go to find a new vision so I didn't get disappointed and I could lead up. See, my friends, I don't know why we feel like we should build the perfect marriage in 4 years, 5 years, or 10 years. I don't know how difficult the person is that you married, or even how difficult you are. But what I do know is that you're worth it. What I do know is if you have a vision that somehow you're being called to grow this big business, I will tell you, I'm seeing, you want to talk about a pandemic of the mind? I am seeing so many people, and I feel like God is just showing this to me because I get to probably do a series on this. Maybe I should do this next week, actually, around being vulnerable enough to let a coach mentor you past the areas that you think are too hard or not worth it. I had somebody who used to coach with us say, I'm just not this ambitious anymore. It's such a lie. She's so freaking ambitious. It's crazy. I have another person that just came back in our ecosystem. Love her. I mean, totally love her. There was a time I probably would have brought her into the company and rose her up, but she stopped rising. And she started taking the comfortability route. And so I just share this with you because there's a small group of leaders that are watching right now that you're not going to choose comfort over your calling. There's another group that are choosing comfort over your calling right now. And you need to be vulnerable enough to allow a coach or a mentor that has the time for you or will make the time for you. Because I will tell you something, it gets harder and harder to choose. And you might hear me say this on the platform, but it gets harder and harder to be accessible to people when they don't actually take the coaching. Because you could go and you'll see this. I know you have a friend like this that you pour into and you love them and they maybe take the advice for a minute and then they're going to go back to their own pattern and then they're going to come back and suck up more of your time getting advice, but they're not actually going to do it. Do you hear what I'm saying? Yes or no? Do you have that person in your life? So that's what it starts to get like on this side of the tracks, is that even paying clients will hit levels of comfortability. And I see it a lot right now. Like really, it used to be 300,000. It seems to be about 500,000, 1.5 million base that, well, I wouldn't say 1.5. 1.5 starts to get ambitious to go. But definitely the 500,000 mark where people hit $500,000 and then they think because it took them a lot to get there, but then they don't take account for the fact that their leadership was so trauma ridden, that the reason why it took them so much effort to get to where they got to is really mostly because they had to deal with so much emotion. That the key to becoming a stronger leader is not going deeper into the weeds. And this is a challenge for everyone because it takes having to let go of thoughts and grab onto trust and grab onto better communication and read books on how do I communicate better? How do I hold higher standards? You have to let go of some level of self-centeredness to be able to go to the next level, say, what am I being called to do? What do I really want? But what do I really want has everything to do with contribution. Well, let me do this. I'll say giving. Others, we. It has everything to do with what is the impact. If you want to create massive freedom, your daily decisions have to choose to let go of offense and to choose how to leave that person, whether you're leaving a career, whether you're leaving a relationship, whether you're leaving a standard in your household, whether you are deciding that there are people that work for you, virtual assistants, whatever, that need to go, or whether you need to take responsibility for the reason why it's not working is because you have not been responsible enough to rise it up. See, to me, there's only one place of power. And that's the one that I can see why something didn't work and how I could have showed up differently, even if it was exiting quicker. Do you guys see what I'm saying? So as you're walking through today, I'm going to invite you to think about the end of this year. How do you want to close it up? And I'll talk about this tomorrow on the live. How do you want to close up this year and why? So actually do that work today. Actually do that work. The reason why it is so hard to always show up, even for you on Instagram lives, Facebook lives, YouTube, the reason why it's hard for you to be consistent is because so many people don't show up. And that's not you. So do the work today. Encourage me to keep showing up. How do you know I'm not going to end these lives? Right? How do you know it's not going to go to once a day or once a month, once a week? You don't. You have no ability to control what I do, like I don't have an ability to control what you do. So while we're together, we have this amazing, thankful moment where we're doing Shanda On Demand, Monday through Friday. We don't do the last week of the month because it's flex week, right? As we do this moment in life together, as we walk together right now, do the work. Do the work. So think about, how do you want to close down this year? Why? How's closing down this year? What needs to close down this year that's going to set up next year for you? Thinking character, right? Thinking character. Think to yourself, I'm going to end the live here. Think in your character. There's something that needs to be weeded. If you're really honest, there's something in your personality that needs to be weeded out, needs to be pulled out. Maybe you need to pray on that a lot. Ask God to move it. Instead of asking God to change somebody else, ask God to move it. As you think about that, ask yourself, what needs to be closed down this year to open up next year? And be careful that it is not self-centered. Because whatever you do to someone else, somebody will do to you. Because leadership always attracts more leadership. Like leadership, the birds of a feather flock together. And so sometimes you might be leaving a relationship because they're going higher and you're not. Sometimes you're leaving a relationship because you're going higher and they're not growing anymore. Be careful how you leave, how you close down your year. Because I can already hear it. Some people are going to leave a relationship, but it's like, because I don't want to start next year like that. I want to start fresh. But if you want to go to the ultimate level of leadership, you 100%. If you want to talk about character, you 100%. This is how we'd want people to treat our children. You need to think about, what is the best thing I could do to hook that person up? What is the best thing I could do to hook up my team? What is the best thing I could do to hook up my friends? What is the best thing I could do to hook up my wife or my husband or my kids? What is the best thing I could do for the people I love and the people that I'm doing life with right now? Maybe make a list of all their names and ask yourself, how can I close down the year hooking them up? My friend Rex Crane never has goals. He only has character goals. And I'll never forget hearing him say that. And there was freedom in that. Can you feel the freedom in that? There's so much freedom in that, not to play smaller, but to play so big that God has space in your life to show up. What needs to be weeded out of your character? How do you close down your year with the people you're doing life with right now, where you're focused on them? where you're focused on them. I promise you, if you do that, you're going to find that your next year is going to open up in a way, because I'll tell you, it's not necessarily always the biggest people in your life that hook you up. It's the ones in your life that you did well by. And that doesn't mean that you just were fair. It means that you hooked them up. And if you hook people up, I'm going to tell you, you will never want for another thing. So I'll end this live on this. I will see you tomorrow morning as the last Shanda On Demand of the week. And we're going to talk about how do you plan your 2023. I've got my 2023 planned for next year, every single department, very specific. I've got it all planned out, right? And it's powerful when you live from that place, because you're clear on what your standards and expectation are. Keep getting better, my friends. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.